inventory so low and prices rising so quickly, many people are turning to land as a buy and hold or buy and eventually build investment. But buying land can differ from buying an already built property, so here are a few things for you to consider. If you're getting a loan for a piece of land, the terms will almost certainly not be the same as if you are getting a loan for an already built property. You need to expect a higher down payment. I've seen as much as 40% down, and different loan terms compared to a conventional mortgage. Land loans will have a shorter loan period, usually anywhere from 2 to 15 years, and sometimes with a balloon payment at the end. The reason for these different and often more unfavorable terms are that land loans are a lot riskier investments for a lender. Think about it like this: are you more likely to default on the home that you're living in or a raw piece of dirt that is providing you no shelter whatsoever? Another thing you'll need to consider when looking at a piece of land is access to utilities. Is this piece of land in a platted subdivision where all you'll have to do when you go to build is just tap into their water and sewer system? Or is it a more rural piece of property where you're gonna have to build a well and septic system? These can be considerable costs, so it's important to think about that up front when you're considering your overall investment. Let's talk about inspection. Your inspection period for a piece of land is gonna be a little bit different than for an already built home. Obviously, you're not gonna be getting a traditional home inspection on a piece of dirt. So we already talked a little bit about the utility aspect of your due diligence, but let's say your home is in an HOA. You're gonna wanna review all their rules and regulations. If the property is in the city or the county, you're gonna wanna double check zoning laws. Some people also choose to do a soils test, which will give you a good idea of what's below the surface. It's gonna tell you how easy or how difficult it'll be to build on that property. You may also wanna do a land survey to see exactly where the property lines are, especially if there aren't any visible markers. One thing I always tell my clients to pay attention to when we're looking at lots is the topography. The more sloped the lot is, the more you're gonna pay when you go to build in foundation and dirt work. Also pay attention to things like trees. Are there a bunch of trees on your lot, and are you gonna have to do a bunch of clearing when you go to build? Is your lot on the river? If so, are you gonna need flood insurance because you're in the FEMA floodplain? These are all things to consider when you're looking at a piece of property. Lastly, don't forget about property taxes. We need to know what the taxes are because even though you're not gonna be living on this piece of land right away, you're still gonna owe taxes on it. So while land transactions typically get a rep for being a little bit easier transactions than an already built home, that's not always the case, and there's still plenty of due diligence to be done.